Okay, so now we get to the big boys, into the Elite Championship. So in 11th place is Despicable Minions with 2 points.
And of course, Despicable Minions just qualified out of the intermediate, now going into the elite and now earning elite points, which is adding to their intermediate points. As we have in 10th place, Limited Edition with 9 points.
In 9th place is Sudden Impact with 13 points.
And in 8th place with 19 points is Chill Winston.
Now, that's very, very interesting. Charlie has pulled Mad Hatters for obvious reasons, and then she's coming with Winston. He's not horseboarded since the very, very early days when we still had drag racing, and he's come in and got a first and a second.
Yeah.
It goes to show that you can't buy experience. Charlie is there. She's got on a horse that hasn't done it in a long time and gone, I didn't think I was going to win, and just...
Yes, and it'll be very interesting to see how he fares on this arena. We measured out the arena, the actual track, when we were setting it up yesterday, and it came to 965 meters for the track. Now we've cut that down, we've reduced it to 800 meters, so it's half a mile as opposed to nearly a kilometer. And the half a mile, because we know other events, the tracks do run up to half a mile, and so it is going to be the big horses, the big X-race horses that will do well. We haven't seen Winston on a course like this that's so big and so open, and he could really start showing something like Naboo, And again, if he gets some good points, Pocket Rocket, and Bored Senseless, both in 6th place with 25 points. Neither of them are here this weekend, and so Chill Winston could jump from currently 8th up into 6th place. If they can score more than 6 points this weekend. But of course, this weekend is a 3-day weekend, so there's an awful lot can happen. 3 averages have to be worked out to get the final result. In 5th place as well, we have Mad Hatters with 30 points.
In 4th place, doing really well, and I think this is one of their highest championship scores so far, is Consider It Done with 33 points.
And we mentioned this before, if you watched any of our videos, we mention it in the commentary all the time. He's a traditional gypsy cob, and he is up there beating X-race horses, beating sports horses, beating polo ponies. It's the management. It's a real credit to that team, the way that they manage the runs that they've got, because we've said it before as well. They don't have the stamina to do 3 half-mile races in an hour. No. They can get 1 or 2 races out, and the 3rd race, and if over 3 days they've got to back off. They've got to, there'd be a lot of pulling, I think, this weekend. A lot of horses pulling out when they don't need to run.
First day we Consider It Done. They'll try and put 1, 2 runs out, but after that, I think unless they need to, they're probably going to get the 1 run, get Levi as hyped up as they can, and just go for that. Almost do or die kind of style. Get out there, see what we can do, and hope for the best.
But we know they're in third. They got 33 points. We know Mad Hatters will not be competing again this year. Bored Senseless is out for the time being, and Pocket Rocket aren't here. They're the closest, and they're 5 points behind them. So if they just keep top, the real threat is Winston, who's got to win almost twice to get into 4th place.
But we've seen him come into first and a second.
But that's if Consider It Done doesn't score any more points. Consider It Done are likely to keep scoring a few points here and there, and they can very realistically hold on to 4th place in the 2016 National Horseboarding Championships, and that is a real credit to the breed and also a credit to the team. Then we go to 3rd place.
Is UK Border Force with 44 points.
Yep, ex-Polo pony, although their normal pony of Jaffa isn't racing this weekend.
They've got
Hammond this weekend. We've seen him race before, and I think he clocked 26, 7, 8 miles an hour, somewhere around the top end of the speed. So he's going to be competitive. Be really interesting to see how they go. Only 3 points in front of them. For 2nd place, we have Drag Act. Now, Drag Act are here this weekend, although there's some discussion of whether or not they're actually going to race. So,
yeah, well, that's been the thing. We've taken the jump out this weekend based on safety concerns, and these guys have been favouring the jump over and over again. I think it's due to his boarding style. I think he's struggling without the jump to get through that chicane, but You know, you
But on
can't deny.
this track, you've got 110. The chicane is over 100 meters. That's
So-
a massive, slow change in direction before you have to take on the jump. So actually, the jump, whereas on other tracks, sometimes the jump has proven a very quick. Not only has it proven a quicker track, but also it's you get your 2-second reduction, as in you take your penalties away. But on this track, it's not really going to show much quicker because you're going to be able to take the chicane pretty much flat out gallop, and you're not going to be able to take the jump at an absolute flat out gallop, at least not without risking getting your strides wrong. So, you know, because the horse is a show jumper, not an ex-race horse. So it'd be very interesting to see. You know, it'd be very, very disappointing if they don't race because they're only 6 points behind Dead Pigeons. Dead Pigeons are under pressure from Drag Act. If Drag Act pull out, Dead Pigeons have got the season.
Well, this is the first time we've ever seen the Dead Pigeons under pressure in the last 5 years.
I mean, don't get me wrong. Dead Pigeons have to score, or rather, Drag Act have to win the next this weekend and the next 2 weekends.
They have to beat
by
Dead
2
Pigeon
points.
by 2 points, yeah.
So they have to, if they get first, Dead Pigeon have to come in consistently third, which we've never seen in their career as yet. But we haven't seen the most consistent season for them this year. So, you know, it's not impossible, but, you know, it is there. And
but you can't deny Drag Act second place, 47 points. They've worked hard this season. Yes, they've consistently come in about third, fourth place, but that's just kept their points ticking over.
It is consistent.
And when a team is messed up, they've jumped straight in there, like we saw at Thorsby at the beginning of the year.
Yeah, and they've, you know, sometimes we've seen they've struggled a little bit with the first couple of runs, but then they pull it together, and you know, all of a sudden, bang, they've gone from 7th place to 3rd place or whatever as the competition's gone on. And so going from that,
leading the championship with 53 points is Dead Pigeons. But it's the Border Championship that is very, very interesting.
Yeah, exactly. Now, so we're going to go just for 4th place. In 4th place, we have Richard Team with 34 points.
In 3rd is Ross Towner. The Border from Dead Pigeons, Ross Towner in 3rd place on the Border Championships. With 38 points.
And what's interesting there is we know, okay, Ross has missed a couple of competitions because he's had other commitments. And, you know, earlier on in the year he was saying, I'm not really bothered. At the end of the day, the Border Championship isn't the team championship. The team championship is the one that we want to win. And I'll sacrifice the Border Championship, despite the fact that he's won it the last 3-4 years. However, talking to him not that long ago, he was saying, you know what, I'm starting to regret it. Because as a tradition from when you won the championship, the Border Championship, handing over that trophy at the end of season 2, he's kind of thinking, I'm not really too excited about that prospect of actually having to hand over the Border Championship. So, you know, he's now probably regretting that a little bit. 38 points. And in second place is Ollie Dartford with 44 points. So he's even 6 points behind Ollie.
Yeah,
you know,
it's almost impossible to catch. But the real story is Matt Chandler Smith, the board rider from Drag Act, the team that has sat in second place,
who are discussing whether or not they're going to race this weekend.
Is sat with 47 points in first place in the Border Championship.
He's got a 3-point lead over Ollie. Ollie has to beat him, or UK Border Force have to beat Drag Act by 1 place. Well, for each next 3 rounds,
if he goes
to take
home,
that position,
he sacrifice that championship title.
As soon as he goes
and
home, yeah.
If Ross is racing this weekend, Ross jumps up as well.
Yeah.
He could possibly, that would open the door for Ross to be able maybe to take it back.
Because you're going to say that Ollie, without Drag Act here, UK Border Force would be looking again at, well, somewhere in the top 3.
Yeah.
Possibly predicted results for the championship this weekend. Predicted results for this weekend. I'm going to go for Dead Pigeons first. Potentially, Chill Winston second. UK Border Force. Drag Act.
Board senseless.
Board senseless isn't racing.
Sudden Impact then. I think that's where it's going to sit then.
Sudden Impact. I wasn't taking into account Sudden Impact, actually. I think, actually, within the top 5, it's going to be very, very tight. With Drag Act in there, again, it's a great combination of teams. There's not a massive amount. There's 7 teams in the elite this weekend, but those 7 teams, I think at the end of the weekend we're looking at point of a second difference between first, second, third, fourth.
It's definitely got to be, but I'm going to put my money on Chill Winston this weekend to come in with first place. We haven't seen him stretch out.
I would say Naboo's struggling a little bit with fitness.
Yeah, he's...
I mean, he is an absolute, highly tuned Formula One engine, but he is at the same time running on that red line all the time on that red line. So and he has struggled for a while. So something could happen where they have to withdraw this weekend. God forbid, but that could happen, which would then put Winston bang up there. But then again, sudden impact.
I say that with Chill Winston because Charlie's the rider. She's got years worth of experience. You don't get to be the 4-time national champion without not knowing what you're doing. And I think she's got the skill and the knowledge to get Winston round the fastest as possible and take the day.
But of course, sudden impact have Sky Button Ben. And Sky Button Ben, I believe his name is Sky Button something or other, is another ex-racer that is extremely fast, which we've not seen on a big open field like what we're racing this weekend. So, I mean, we could debate this all weekend, and we will debate it all weekend, so keep watching for your videos. We'll tell you the stories as it happens, and as close to live as we can. We're going to try and get a couple of videos. We do have 4 heats of competition every day for the next 3 days, and it really is always, this competition, a challenge for all the teams, the board riders, the horse riders, to get through it. It is a little bit of a marathon, and of course the elite arena is half a mile long as a track.
It's huge.
So come down to Cheshire, Knutsford, the Cheshire Showground for round 7 of the National Horseboarding Championships here with Living Heritage.
Winning.